Boxing King Media in association with Boxer with me, Paul Smith Jr. Paul, what are you doing in Poland?
Yeah, I manage Yadam Youth Zizo. He's a fighter I've managed now since his debut. He trains with Buddy McGirt alongside me, brother Callum. He's been in Liverpool and everywhere else over the last couple of years now, and he's one of we've adopted him in Liverpool, and they've adopted me over there in Saudi. I'm Saudi Smith and he's Scout Sizzo, and he's loving it. But he's a good kid, and he's fighting on Saturday night. And it's another great show for him to be a part of.
I've got to ask you, because he's there in the corner, Prince Nassim Hamid, the great Prince Nassim, one of the greatest fighters to ever come out of Britain. Everyone was a fan of the Prince.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm lucky enough now, just through being in boxing for a long time, to know him and to call him a mate. And you seen him yesterday, and just there's all right, la, and like a put-on Scouse accent, turn around, it's Naz, you know. And I used to stand in pub doorways watching him fight when I was a kid, and every time he'd fight, we'd have my poor dad Arish to go out and spend over 200 quid or whatever it was on a pair of Reyes or whatever colour he was wearing at the time. We had all the gloves, and he's an icon, isn't he? And that word's used a lot nowadays, but he fits that bill. He was a trailblazer for boxing in Britain, and someone, if you ask anyone who Nassim Hamid is, they might not know, but if you ask them who Prince Naz is, they'll tell you exactly who he is to him. And he's some fighter. His kids are lovely, respectful, polite, and I hope to see them fighting really well on fight night. And when Adam makes his debut on Saturday, I'll be there watching.
I mean, we've seen Conor Benn with Nigel Benn, we've seen Campbell Hatton with Ricky Hatton, we've then seen Chris Eubank Jr. with Chris Eubank Sr. We're seeing Naz now, so it's great. Would you have ever thought that those great fighters from the 90s will have sons that will also go on to become fighters as well?
Yeah and no. Obviously, my son's 16 now, 17 soon, and he's boxing, and I didn't want him to fight as such, but I wanted him to go through what we all went through in the gym: discipline, manners, respect, fitness, self-worth, looking after yourself, and that. And boxing gyms are the best place for young men, in my opinion, and girls nowadays. You know, young kids growing up, you're surrounded by positive role models, and there's no sort of colour, religion or anything like that in boxing gyms. Everyone's equal, and it's a great place for them to be. So you ask any boxer, did you want the son to box, they'd probably say no, but you can't stop them. And I think the proof's in the pudding. You've seen all the names you've just mentioned and more. There's so many of them fighting now, and if they've got it in the genetics, then you're going to be able to stop them doing it.
I'm sure Alexander Usyk will go down as a Hall of Fame fighter down the line. How tough of this is a challenge for Daniel, coming off a serious knee injury, that win he had last time, which wasn't his great performance, a new trainer, backyard of the champion. How tough is this for Daniel?
I think it's very tough. I think it's not impossible. Obviously, he's got a chance, and I hate when people say he's got no chance or anyone's got no chance. It's a fight, and any fighter's got a puncher's chance at least, but I think that's all he has on Saturday night, a puncher's chance. I'm not discrediting him, I'm putting him down. I don't know the lad personally, got nothing against him, but this is another level in Usyk, and I think the best chance DUBOIS has is to chin him, to knock him out. I think that's probably the only chance he's got. He's not going to outbox him, he's not going to outwork him, his brain isn't going to compete with Usyk's boxing brain, and just the sheer desire Usyk's got. Like I've said all along in this build-up, I keep watching him, the head-to-heads, and I tweeted about it, and people say, oh no, he's just socially awkward. You know, I've got a brother who's socially awkward, but head-to-heads are head-to-heads, and I know what I see. I've been around boxing long enough now to know what I'm seeing, and I can see a lot of fear in DUBOIS, and it might make him fight out of his skin, might make him have the best fight of his life. Nerves will either make you or break you, but there's a difference in nerves and fear, and in my opinion, I've seen a little bit of fear there, which is very understandable, but ultimately, to beat Usyk, you've got to be mentally very, very strong. This is a man who will go underwater for 3 minutes at a time for 15 rounds or 12 rounds, whatever it is he does, and going through a lot in his home country. And I see people tweeting that, like, you know, DUBOIS got. We saw it the other day, that tweet from someone involved with the promotion. More fearlessness, I think it was, and it did make me laugh, because I don't think there's anyone on the plan who, at the moment, will compete with Usyk when it comes to that. So I can see Usyk winning pretty well in the middle rounds.
Paul, are you Are you? There's been a lot of talk about. There's a lot of commotion going on around us, but Joshua beat Helenius. Just your assessment. Just his assessment of his performance, and should he fight Wilder next?
Look, Anthony Joshua had 6 rounds in a fight against a decent heavyweight who was a last-minute replacement, which was tough. He didn't lose a round. He eased his way into it. He knocked him out in 6. He did everything that was asked of him. Did I think it was a little bit laboured? Yes. Did I think it wasn't his best performance? Yes. But the knockout was devastating. It was a highlight reel knockout. It showed us what he's got. And for AJ, he's probably sitting there and thinking, well, I've done everything I needed to do. I had 6 rounds. If he'd knocked him out in the first round, it would have just been a foregone conclusion, and he might have been booed out the ring. He did what he had to do. He got the rounds in, he got the win, and the knockout was devastating. So job done. He's ticked all the boxes, and why not fight Wilder next? You don't need to have an exceptional performance to go in and fight someone like Wilder. In my opinion, in Wilder's last fight with Fury, he looked done, and it wasn't just the fact that the fitness doubts were creeping in, or he was gassing, or he was blowing. He was huge in the fight, and I just think he put sort of all his eggs in one basket, and it didn't pay off for him. So I think USYK is on the Wilder is on the decline. Obviously, I'm looking at the sign over your head, and if you're going to fight Wilder, why not fight him now? You know, I like the fact that they're all willing to fight each other. You know, maybe not Fury and USYK at the moment, but it's got to make sense financially and business-wise. And if it does make sense, then these fights are great. And I'd see this again. If Wilder lost to Joshua, I'd still wouldn't mind seeing him against USYK. If Joshua lost against Wilder, I still wouldn't mind seeing Joshua against Fury. They don't have to be unbeaten to have these fights, to make these fights. These are good fights. I'll pay to watch them, and I'll buy a ticket to watch them. So I think absolutely fight him next. Why not? You know, there's nothing to be fearful for there, in my opinion. Wilder's got devastating power. He'll put anyone's lights out if he lands. But if he lands, you know, he caught Fury, but Fury's tough and durable. I think Fury's a different kettle of fish. I think the fight we want to see is Fury USYK, but I'd happily see that next year.
Did you see John Fury at the press conference this week? Just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I saw a little clip of it on the video. But listen, that's what that Misfits boxing is all about, isn't it? You know, it's important to put the word Misfits in front of it. It is what it is, and I'm not being a hypocrite, because I think it's good for what it's doing. It's bringing eyes to a form of boxing. It's not professional boxing, but he's involved in professional boxing with his son Tyson, who's probably the best out there at the minute in the heavyweight division, and one of the best in all divisions, pound for pound. So it is what it is. No one's going to really tell him what to do, John Fury, and no one's going to tame him. But I saw that he's apologised for it today, which is fair dues, and just draw a line on it and move on. But it's important, I think, people keep both of them separate. Misfits boxing is Misfits boxing, and it's doing well at what it does, and professional boxing is just that.
Paul, we are in Poland today. We do go back to Manchester. It's another big one for you next week. Chris Eubank Jr. has made some changes in his team, in the background, bringing in Bomac, who trains Terence Crawford. Is the fight going to be any different?
It depends on Eubank. If I was Eubank, I'd come out and put it on Liam as quick as I could and try and put all the eggs in one basket, because I know I haven't got 12 rounds in me, and I don't think he's got 12 rounds in him. That's why I keep saying that. To do 12 rounds at a good pace, to beat someone like Liam, you're going to have to outwork him and outmaneuver him, out-hustle him, out-fight him. I don't think Chris Eubank can do that. I said that in the first fight. I'm saying it even more in this. The track record's there to see with Eubank. He never performs for 12 rounds. It's always the first 6 or the last 6 or the middle 4 and the last 3 or something. He never can work belt to belt for 12 rounds, because he doesn't probably go there in the gym. He's not going to be pushed by anyone. He probably doesn't listen to anyone. So it's up to him what he does. It depends how he comes out. But if he tries to stand off and box Liam again like last time, Liam will catch him. And if he tries to go toe to toe, I fancy Liam now. He's got them doubts about his chin now. When everyone gets out that ring, he's got to look at Liam straight across the other side of the ring and know that the last time I got hit by you, I was out and I was gone. I don't remember it, because he won't remember it. All the deludedness that I keep seeing about him dominating the fight. You know, I must have been watching a different fight. I think everyone else there was, but same again, same prediction again. Liam Smith knockout, and whether he comes to fight Eubank or Eubank comes to fight, or whether Eubank comes to box, depends on when it'll be in the fight, in my opinion.
Paul, appreciate your time, and yeah, we'll see you back in Manchester next week.
Definitely. Nice
Paul
to see
Smith
you.
Jr. for Boxing Media. Thank you.